Okay, hey guys. So we are in our staffingpreneurs setup class that we do every Monday. And we are live. This is where staffingpreneurs come to get their questions answered about setting up and starting their staffing business. This is where you come to gain more clarity. This is where you come to network with other people that are on the same journey that you are on. This is like home base. That's what I always call it. I'm gonna stand up, y'all. But this is home base. This is where you want to be when you are in that space of I'm starting a staffing agency, right? I want to create impact in a totally different way. This is exactly where you want to be. And so let me make sure. Okay, so that should sound a lot better. Okay, so today that's what we're talking about. And I have my class here. So my class is going to chime in. If they have questions, they're going to ask questions. If they want to comment, they're going to comment. But I'm going to be here to pretty much, guide the conversation and get my class to where they need to be. So I want to say for everyone who's chiming in online, welcome. You are being invited into our class. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, Alexis. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And for everyone in my class, one of the first things we do when we come into this class is greet each other. So I hope everyone has put their greetings in the box and said good morning and all of those great things. I am so excited because so a few things. I don't even know where to start. So you all know that I have been trying to retire from staffing, right? I think everybody kind of knows I've been trying to retire. And my clients who know me very well and we talk all the time, they start laughing. It's like, girl, that is not happening for you, right? Because of all the things that are happening in AI and how it is in this space of I feel like this major space of impact. I feel like I can't leave, right? I feel like I have to be in it and be a part of the shift, be a part of, the growth that's going to take place and all of those things. I feel like all of those things are super, super duper important. And I also want to be a part of, the positive things that are going to be happening in the future. So we already know that a lot of jobs are going to go away. We know that new jobs are going to be created. We know that more entrepreneurship is going to take place. We know that ideas are going to become the next currency, and the way those ideas are presented in the most humanistic way. We know that healthcare is probably going to be the last industry to be impacted by AI. And that in that space, there's more opportunity, I believe, than in other industries right now. I feel the same way about sales. At a higher level, not at a lower level, but more of it at a higher level. The godfather of AI came out and did an interview on one of my favorite podcasts, and I'm going to share a couple of clips in a minute and talk a little bit about the conversations that he's having about work and the future of work and where it's going. And it's going to be a hard conversation. I'm just going to tell y'all right now, I'm going to pre-warn everybody now. It might make you feel a little uncomfortable. Okay. But before we get into that, before we get into that portion of the conversation, I'm somebody who doesn't run away from things. Okay. I'm someone who literally sees a problem or a challenge and I'm all in. Right. I don't necessarily have to do things the easy way. I'm kind of cool with doing things the hard way. It gives me a challenge and I like challenges. And I feel like where we're going in the future with not just the future of work, but just society in general, it's going to be challenging. And, we are literally going to have to take control of our future, one person at a time, and then as a collective. Okay. And so I like to see what's coming next. And what's coming next is AI is here. We know this. But what people are not ready for is that AI is probably going to entice a lot of companies in the way that we work. They're going to entice them to feel like, we don't have to have so many employees. We'll just keep the people who can manage the AI or create the AI. But we don't necessarily need all the people to do the regular mundane jobs that probably most of the population is employed in, right? So we're going to have an experience. At least that's what's stated, allegedly. He didn't say it. And I'm going to play the clip in a second, where there's going to be mass joblessness. Okay. And so that is going to be for a portion of the country, but we haven't gotten there yet. And so we've got to start focusing on preparation. Like, what do we do before that happens? Number one. And what type of position do we want to be in when it happens? Number two. Okay. So that's my thought process. And I think for other critical thinkers and talking to different entrepreneurs as well, they're all thinking the same thing. So this is why I feel like we're in a great space, because everything is changing. And the one industry that has never, I would say, that has stayed consistent with changes in the economy is the staffing industry. You are about to see the strong be condensed down to, how do I say this? I feel like the staffing agencies that are going to thrive are the ones who totally incorporate AI, who offer AI as a service, as a digital workforce solution, as an agent, and who also has employees who are sharp, bright. If you're outside of healthcare, not saying you don't need to be sharp and bright in healthcare. Don't quote me on that. I'm saying with healthcare, it's just a little bit different, right? I didn't put lip gloss. I think it's a little bit different because people will pay for healthcare. They'll do. I mean, healthcare is just different, and they're slower to adapt. But for everything else and everyone else, like, we have a lot of mundane kind of things going on. And so your job right now is to figure out what those things are, how to automate them yourself as a staffing agency, either through an agent, an AI agent, or an AI technology, and then either find and or train the people who are going to manage the AI. And you got to do it now, right? Because they're saying things are going to be happening in the next, what have you. They're saying it has already started. And they're saying that the people who are going to thrive in this new world are going to be the people who either use AI or offer AI. Okay. So you're already a business owner. And I believe the future of recruiting and staffing is going to be more around technology, not just people. I think it's going to be an integrated unit. And if that's the case, and we're looking forward, that gives us opportunity, because we're the small guy, not the big guy. Why is that important? You would think the big guy has more resources, Dee, so they can do things bigger, badder, faster than we can. And that's not true. The bigger guy has been in a system for very, very, very long time. Their processes and systems and all of that is tied to so many different things, so many different technologies, so many different avenues and openings. It's not so easy for the big guy to transition so quickly. They would have to create something new, and that still has to tie into whatever they have going on, right? Whereas if you're the new guy, you come in with a fresh perspective, you're coming in with a fresh book of technology. You can build with the time that's happening right now. That gives you an advantage. and it's an advantage that you want to have in this moment. If you're waiting for the opportunity of, okay, I missed the internet bubble, I missed the real estate bubble, you're here now. This is your opportunity. You don't have to miss this because it's going to happen. Now, I can't predict the future, but what I do believe is you create something now, you ride the wave, and you watch things evolve, and you attempt to evolve with things as they're evolving, so that you can be one of the people that are on top. And I say that nicely, airs, quotes, whatever. And the people that you're impacting as well, right, are also in that space, because if this isn't done right, there's going to be a huge gap in class, and that's going to change the dynamics of how the United States, and I'm speaking specifically in the United States, how it functions and how things are, right? Even if a universal basic income is implemented, which we haven't really heard much about, there's going to be, how is that going to be implemented? Are you going to get the salary that you get now? Is that impacted by if you start something else? Like, you've got to be in control. If you're here in my class, you're definitely taking control. But if you're watching live, you have to take control right now. You can't wait, right? So before I dive in, so let me share the video, the clip of, so first of all, it's a 2-hour video. So I'm not going to show the whole 2 hours. I'm only going to show a portion. It's 4 minutes. And I think it gives you a full perspective. So like I said, for some of you, you probably, if you're very sensitive about, the future of work and like, what are you going to do? Like, I won't lie. I had a couple of panic attacks, just thinking about, how things are about to go off. And when you hear the creators of AI say things, you're like, holy smokes, you know what I'm saying? Because these are the people who are creating it. But I have to always keep in perspective. And I don't know how old most of y'all are, but I remember when it was like 1997, 1998, 1999, especially 1999, the whole world was freaking out about the turnover of the year 2000 and the computer systems and how they weren't prepared for the year, 2000. And I mean, I can tell y'all where I lived, where I worked at, what I was doing. And because I remember the panic that was going on around that the night before, everybody was coming together with their family. And then, 2000 came in and we all here, you know what I'm saying? So it's like nothing happened. Everything worked out fine and the world kept moving on. And I'm praying that that's going to be the situation. However, they're saying this is a little bit different. This is more like the Industrial Revolution, and people are going to be impacted in a lot of different ways. And so I want to be on the side where I'm helping people, first of all, in advance. Like, I'm an Aquarius. We prepare. You know what I'm saying? All my Aquarians know exactly what I'm talking about. We do not sit around and wait. We prepare. And, we're like, okay, this is happening. How do we do this? So I want to talk about being a part of the shift, a part of the things that are going great, a part of the things that we can control. And I believe that we can control the way hiring happens. I believe that we can be a part of the chaos and providing it. I believe we need to start training people now. I believe that we need to start working with companies to train the people that they have so that they can start to identify who is, and I don't want to say valuable talent, but who is talent that is proficient in AI that can help, move the company in a better way. And I think staffing agencies, our job is also going to be like to go out and find those extraordinary people. Again, either train those extraordinary people or find those extraordinary people and really, start diving into having conversations when you're talking to hiring managers start having those conversations about AI and automation and how they're implementing it and how do they foresee it being implemented in their organization. Your lead magnet should start to be created around how you're incorporating AI. You should be thinking about how you're incorporating AI. I've got a class of 9 staffingpreneurs right now. We are in our last 2 classes that are building their own AI platforms specific to their niche market so that they can offer humans plus some type of AI technology so that they can be one of the people that are offering the technology versus one of the people that are looking for a job and living on UBI. Okay. And that's, I would like to see more people offering the jobs, more people in the jobs, then more people and having some type of purpose, especially if it's jobs, if it's work that you love, than to not be, right? And so that's why now is the time to really start bringing this business to life. I think we have about 3 to 6 years where you can go crazy, profit crazy in the world that we see it right now. What the world will be tomorrow, it could be 20 million times more than that, especially when you're talking about AI and you're talking about users or user engagement, because you charge based on the interactions, the tokens that the AI uses. That can be 10 times more profitable than the staffing model that we're using right now. We're going to get into that when we get into the new live recording. Okay, you know, I'll be getting fired up, y'all. You know, I get fired up over here. If y'all are just joining, welcome. I'm just adding my video because y'all know I be into everything. And so sometimes I don't always be like together. Be together, but not together, if that makes sense. So hold on one second.
Joblessness.
So I'm going to start this over. I'm going to share my screen for my staffingpreneurs. I'm going to share the screen as well so that you can see what's happening. And then y'all let me know if y'all have questions. I don't know if I can speed this up. So I don't know I hope YouTube doesn't like, whatever me, but I'm going to share this and I may stop it in the middle of it and just be like, do y'all believe this? Or what do you think about this? But let me just make sure y'all can see. Can my class see? Oh, sorry, y'all. Sorry, babe. Sorry, boo. Can my class see? Put a 1 in the box if you can see, or yell out or something. I just want to make sure. Can you see my little screen right here? I'm going to make it a little bit. Okay. Thank you. I just want to see. Okay. Thank you, Byron. I love your engagement. Thank you so much. Okay. So I'm going to play it right now. Let's get into this.
Right. So the next one is joblessness.
One more thing, because I guess I kind of got to preference this just a little bit more. This is Jeffrey Hinton. He is the godfather of AI. So he's one of the guys who actually developed AI and figured out that it's actually going to that it works. He was trying to work on, and he tells you in the full, not in this clip, but if you watch the full podcast, he goes into how he was working on analog AI to communicate or do something with the brain and came to realize that digital AI worked better. But when doing that, he realized that digital AI can now can become smarter than us and essentially take over the world or kill us or whatever the case may be. And so now he quit Google and he's out on a media run and he's everywhere trying to warn people of the dangers of AI, that we need to put safety rails in place, that it's going to cause mass joblessness, and that as a people, we need to stand up to our government right now and say, hey, we got to do something about this before it's too late. And so that's what the whole video is about, him going on all of the podcasts. He's been on Good Morning America, everywhere, to warn people and to get people to stand up and say, hey, but here we only talk about jobs. And that's all we're talking about today. So I just wanted to tell you what this is about. Now let's get into this.
Right. So the next one is joblessness.
Yeah.
In the past, new technologies have come in which didn't lead to joblessness. New jobs were created. So the classic example people use is automatic teller machines. When automatic teller machines came in, A lot of bank tellers didn't lose their jobs. They just got to do more interesting things. But here, I think this is more like when they got machines in the Industrial Revolution, and you can't have a job digging ditches now because a machine can dig ditches much better than you can. And I think for mundane intellectual labor, AI is just going to replace everybody.
So let's stop there. For mundane intellectual labor, AI is going to replace everyone. This is what the godfather of AI is stating. So if you're in a mundane intellectual role, your job is at risk, period. So just keep that in mind. And we'll talk about what a mundane intellectual role is. Some of you are already saying, okay, I already know. But some of you are like, what's that? Okay, we're going to talk about it.
Now, it may well be in the form of you have fewer people using AI assistants. So it's a combination of a person and an AI assistant are now doing the work that 10 people could do previously.
People say that it will create new jobs, though, so we'll be fine.
Yes, and that's been the case for other technologies, but this is a very different kind of technology. If it can do all mundane human intellectual labor, then what new jobs is it going to create? You'd have to be very skilled to have a job that it couldn't just do. So I don't think they're right. I think you can try and generalize from other technologies that have come in, like computers or automatic teller machines, but I think this is different.
People use this phrase, they say, AI won't take your job. A human using AI will take your job.
Yes, I think that's true. But for many jobs, that'll mean you need far fewer people. My niece answers letters of...
So before he goes into his story about his niece, so he's basically saying the same thing that we're saying, right? Okay, you're either going to have to use AI or offer AI, essentially. This is very important. He's also stating that, it'll be less jobs. So right now, a lot of people think of staffing agencies as only in the traditional sense. And the traditional sense is like commercial staffing, where you have volume, right? That is one form of staffing, but I think that's going to live a little bit longer because robots really have to be ingrained into our system for it to impact that space, the commercial staffing space, at least on the warehouse, different things like that, home health care, stuff like that. But when you're on that side and you're talking about call centers, customer service, different things like that, that's completely going to go away, right? That's going to all be done by AI. So right now you should be building, if you're in the customer service niche or the administrative niche, you should be creating AI that will provide customer service, or AI that will become an assistant, versus closing your doors or versus saying, I'm not going to do this. Or if you are not even in this space yet, now is the time to do that. What somebody would say, well, would you start an admin staffing agency? Probably before I saw this video, I would say no. Now I would say heck yes, because two things. One, a human assistant is always going to be needed somewhere. Even when robots come into place, you watching the Diddy trial, you see how high maintenance some people are, right? I feel like a human is always going to be needed, but it's just going to be very few humans that are going to be needed. So the idea of volume won't exist like it does in the commercial space. But if you're in the professional solution space, which is where I really play at and where I bring people on into their business models, if you're in the professional solution space, that changes the game because we already are not used to quote unquote volume. Volume is a lot harder in the professional solution space because your margins are a lot larger. And typically you're looking for a more defined skill set, right? So when you start talking about how the future may look, it's going to be very interesting because agencies are going to probably move more like an executive search firm model, or meaning you're only getting the high-end talent, right? Or the best talent. And your job, in my opinion, is going to be train, reskill, train, reskill, reskill, train, reskill, reskill. literally to be reskilling people, training, and you be reskilling and training, right? And then focusing on figuring out how and what AI technology that you can put into place, either creating some type of operating agent that can actually do a full job, or parts of a job, and find the human that can manage that person or that agent, so that you can generate enough revenue to start purchasing the robots, so that you can now be the person that's offering the workforce solutions in a full organic way, both humans, both AI, and both robots. That's a game changer. And it's a plan. It's a great plan of action if you actually think about it. You make all your money over the next couple of years, you stack it, you get the robots right when you need to get them, not when they're too expensive, not when they're too cheap. And you get your first one, staff it out, and then make enough money to staff the next one out. Now you got robots staffed out, you got AI agents staffed out, you got humans staffed out, and now you're creating impact where you can, and you're still creating and keeping the legacy that you have started to create. You're keeping it, and you're moving forward. So I like where he's going, even though it sounds kind of gloomy, but I can visually see how agencies will look. They're not going to have, unless you have mass population. And I think if, I'll let him keep talking and I'll keep adding on the vision, but I think he's laying the foundation of what the vision is going to look like here in the future.
Complaint to a health service. It used to take her 25 minutes. She'd read the complaint and she'd think how to reply, and she'd write a letter. And now she just scans it into a chatbot, and it writes the letter. She just checks the letter. Occasionally she tells it to revise it in some ways. The whole process takes her 5 minutes. That means she can answer 5 times as many letters. And that means they need 5 times fewer of her. So she can do the job that 5 of her used to do. Now, that will mean they need less people. In other jobs, like in healthcare, they're much more elastic. So if you could make doctors 5 times as efficient, we could all have 5 times as much healthcare for the same price. And that would be great. There's almost no limit to how much healthcare people can absorb. They always want more healthcare if there's no cost to it.
So I just want to throw it out there, all my healthcare professionals. I know you're like, whew, but don't say whew, right? Even though you're probably in a much safer space than other industries, you all are still being impacted by robots, right? They're saying there was an article that went out, and I said I was going to do more reaction videos, but that came out about the nurse shortage now that's happening in relation to immigration, right? So the issues, all the things that are happening with immigration right now is causing an even stronger nurse shortage. So my staffing agency should be on fire right now. You all should be placing so many people. You all should have contracts coming through. And if you don't, you should be on the phones asking, are you in a space? Do you need help? Are you being compliant with the number of nurses you've got? Nurse to patient ratio, you need to be on them phones. And I'm telling you that for the people who aren't, or the people who are taking their time starting the staffing business, this BSing, you tripping. I'm going to just put it out there. You tripping. Like, it don't take forever. Like, come on, let's get it up. Let's get it going so that you can be a part of this, and you can start, laying your mark on there. That's what I got to say. I say that with love, but I got to say it.
There are jobs where you can make a person with an AI assistant much more efficient, and you won't lead to less people because you'll just have much more of that being done. But most jobs, I think, are not like that.
Am I right in thinking the sort of industrial revolution played a role in replacing muscles?
Yes, exactly.
And this revolution in AI replaces intelligence, the brain.
Yeah. So mundane intellectual labor is like having strong muscles, and it's not worth much anymore.
So muscles have been replaced. Now intelligence is being replaced.
Yeah.
So what remains?
Maybe for a while, some kinds of creativity. But the whole idea of superintelligence is nothing remains. These things will get to be better than us at everything.
So what do we end up doing in such a world?
Well, if they work for us, we end up getting lots of goods and services for not much effort.
Okay. But that sounds tempting and nice, but I don't know. There's a cautionary tale in creating more and more ease for humans in it going badly.
Yes. And we need to figure out if we can make it go well. So the nice scenario is, imagine a company with a CEO who is very dumb, probably the son of the former CEO, and he has an executive assistant who's very smart, and he says, I think we should do this. And the executive assistant makes it all work. The CEO feels great. He doesn't understand that he's not really in control. And in some sense, he is in control. He suggests what the company should do. She just makes it all work. Everything's great. That's the good scenario.
And the bad scenario?
The bad scenario is she thinks, why do we need him?
Yeah. I mean, in a world where we have super intelligence, which you don't believe is that far away.
Yeah, I think it might not be that far away. It's very hard to predict, but I think we might get it in like 20 years or even less.
So I just want to stop there. Okay. This interview, I will share the link to the interview. Actually, I'll do it right now because you should definitely watch the full interview. I am going to probably do a reaction video on a number of the parts of the video. Some of them are very intense and they make me very uncomfortable. And then some of them, I'm just thankful for the knowledge so that I can have the vision to start preparing and to moving, in certain ways. And that's very, 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 very important. And so today, my whole thing is I really want you to be in a place where you are building this business and you're building it out and you're building it out the right way, right? I'm big on compliance. And while I may not touch on it a lot in there, my checklist is 100% compliant. I'll say that. And the things that I'm telling you to do in the academy will keep you compliant. That's why I want you in the academy doing those things. The thing is the things that seem like it takes forever to do, it doesn't take forever to do it anymore. AI can do it. And that's why we're going to go through the setup and the run it within 2 days, right? Over in on the 27th, June 27th through the 29th. It's written on my board. I should put it right here, but June 27th through the 29th, we are re-recording the academy. It will be more focused on building your staffing agency in an AI era. It will also be lots of conversation around robots and how you're going to integrate robots into your business model. So it's going to be very exciting. We've already had people start to register. So you have 2 ways you can register. You can go to Staffpreneurs Academy to live events, and you can see the recording of the academy is $9.97. I think it's on sale. If you want to come in and do a full coaching program where you join the live classes that you see me doing here live, we have 2 live classes that we do, the setup and the run it class. And you can get questions answered, different things like that. Then you just come on into the academy. We have different programs. I have opened my doors a little bit, not a lot bit, but I'll take on a new client here or there if I like them, if they're pretty cool as far as one-on-one. We do have some coaching programs, but I'm really at my limit, to be honest with you. I would say just get on the calendar, we'll see if we vibe and if it makes sense. And if it does, then we'll make some magic happen. If we don't, then, I'll still be able to help you because we still have other products and services. I've gotten a few calls recently where people want me to fly out. I'm back on flights again, but I really, my goal is to help people build this business in an AI world. That's the reason that I'm open to being back on flights, because now I can say, okay, it's first of all, it's a little bit more exciting for me now. After a while, you start teaching staffing and doing staffing for so long, it's boring. But I mean, it does. As a trainer, it does. But now it's getting exciting because you have AI and you have technology, and that's already what I was doing. So now I'm kind of excited again. and ready. You know what I'm saying? To help people. Miss T said New Academy. She's excited. To help people really bring their staffing agency to life with the integration of AI. Now, I know that scares some of my staffingpreneurs who are like, well, Dee, I already started. I don't have AI. You know, how do I do this? How do I make this happen? I would say, let's join. First, ask questions. If you even ask me right now, I'll answer any question you have, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is we're going to do the live, re-recording the live. And so you'll know where you fit in. Some things you're already done, you skip those things. The things that you have not done are the things that you're going to integrate, right? And I've already been setting you up for that every week, all the way up into the live recording and letting you know, like right now, if you're working on your lead magnets, is AI involved in it? And I'm not just talking about you actually using AI to build your business. That's one aspect, and that's one aspect that's 1,000,000% needed. I'm not talking about that though. I'm talking about you offering AI in some way. I need you to be sitting down right now thinking about outside of, okay, let's go back. So listen, if you should be doing 2 things in this setup phase right now, there's 3 things really. One, you should be focusing on the setup, like actually putting the pieces together for the business. Your setup is not just going and get it legalized, getting your EIN and getting a website. That does not make your business set up on any level. Okay. Those are only 15% of what you're doing. You need those things, and I want you to do those things, but that's just a very small portion of setting up your staffing business. You have to have a strategy. You have to know who you're talking to, what's going on with them right now, why they want to talk to you, why they don't want to talk to you. You have to do research. You have to start with the research first before you even legalize the business, in my opinion, or even create the name. Because to me, the name is based on the solution that you want to offer. Tip for me. But so I wouldn't do that before I have like that idea, but people do, whatever. So now, once you start getting all of that together, you start doing your research and you're doing the right research, the proper research, then you've got to start figuring out, how do I take that research and turn that research into strategies? 2 things, strategies and process. And the reason that I say that is because there's already a process in how to recruit, how to staff, how to source, how to sell, how to generate leads. You don't have to create no new process for that. That's already established. That's one. Okay. So that's easy. So process. Okay. How do I do these processes? You need to know that. We teach that in the Run It class. We don't necessarily teach it in full detail in the setup. We give you an overview, but in the Run It class is where we get into the nitty gritty of that. Okay. But you got to understand, that's one thing you got to think about, process. The next thing is strategy. Like, how am I actually going to get candidates? How am I actually going to get clients? Now, some of you are blessed and you already come with a candidate market. If you already come with a candidate market, that's amazing. But I'm going to tell you, it's not enough. Even if you know 10,000 candidates, you need to know them all personally for it to be enough. It's not enough. So most people, when they say they have a network, they got 5 people or 25 people. It's just not enough. It is enough to get you kickstarted, but it's not enough to really bring this business to life, because there's one job opening for every 25, 30 people you're going to talk to about that one job. So you've already extended your circle. And just because you present a candidate to a client doesn't mean that that client is going to want to hire that candidate, or that the candidate isn't going to want the job. So it's you. That's why you have to interview so many people. And I always say that I see a lot of videos out here where influencers are out there saying, oh, these people are creating these ghosting jobs and different things like that. No, these companies are looking for someone specific. They're looking for something specific. And our job is to go and find that person. And if we wait, first of all, until they tell us what they need, we're slow. Okay, I'm gonna just keep it real, because you don't wait to get into the fight. You don't wait. You do things. You're proactive, not reactive. So you want to know everyone in your market. You want to know people who have a specific skill set. It's called pipelining. That is something you have to do, because you are the staffing agency. You get to spend all day, every day, defining who's in the market, who's good at what, why they're good at it, what did they do that would make them so great, whatever the case may be. So that when an employer is looking for something, whether they've told you or whether you figured out that they're looking for something, then you will have someone, because otherwise, I'm trying to tell y'all right now, otherwise you are going to be in a position where you're not going to really be able to bring the business to life. You'll have the job order, you'll have everything, the business set up, but you can't get the candidates, or you can't fill the position to generate the check. So that's why I always start you off with, you got to find your candidates, know as many candidates as possible. And then y'all always pressure me, but I need to get the contract. I need money now. I need to get the contract. I'm like, I understand, but when you get the contract, what good is it having a contract if you can't fill it? And you're not going to be able to fill it unless you know people. Okay. And so you've got a pipeline. You got to talk to people. Okay. So what's the strategy? How do I get people? And one more thing I want you to keep in mind. If a company is willing to pay you to find people, trust and believe they're having problems finding people. So that means that they have invested time and energy in finding these people, and they can't find them so much that they're willing to pay you to go and find them for them. And that's not always the case, but just think that through. So that means that you can't bullshit on trying to find people. That means that you can't just post it on Indeed and think you're going to find the right person for the employer. You think they ain't already did that? Okay, that's why you come here, so you can learn how to really recruit, how you recruit beyond Indeed, okay? Or how you use Indeed differently, not like the average recruiter uses Indeed. So you've got to start, you've got to have a strategy, and you got to use these meetings to help flesh your strategy out, okay? So that's awesome. Okay, so you got process, you got strategy on the candidate side, you got strategy on the employer side. You got to talk about things that the employer wants to talk about. You can't think that the employer wants to talk about giving you a contract. Like, that's not his first thought, right? His first thought is his job, and his job being done correctly. And the people that are doing the job, are they doing it correctly? Him planning for the future, him planning for an unexpected circumstance. You have to connect with the employer in a different way, because you're thinking like a thirsty, broke, entrepreneur, and not like a strategic thinker, like a strategic entrepreneur, like someone who wants to make $1 million or $10 million or whatever your goal is. Because remember, I tell you, this is a different version of you. This is not the same version. The version of you building a staffing agency. You know what I'm talking about? It's not the same version. The version of you that's working for somebody else is not the same version as building a staffing agency. You show up differently when you're working in your business than you do when you are working for someone else. When you're working for you, your life depends on it. When you work for someone else, they depend on you. But here in this business, you're in control. Okay, so you have to define who you are as an entrepreneur and show up as that person every moment that you're working on your business, every moment that you're thinking about your business. Imperative. Okay, so with that being said, Dr. Rice, do you want to say something about the fact about the sourcing thing? Because you started this journey with me where you came with the idea. You set the business up through my program. We did one-on-one, flew out to you, the whole nine, showed you how to go and get your candidates, told you what you want to do first. I won't tell all your business. I'll let you tell anything you want to tell, but you got your first contract. You did your strategies, got your first contract. and you're in the process of filling that contract, do you want to share your experience? Would you mind? I won't put you on camera.
Oh, that's okay. Sure, I'll share my experience. It has been a roller coaster, I can tell you that. And part of it is because you just need to follow the plan in place. When you have the instructions and the recipe to do what needs to be done, if the recipe calls for 2 eggs, don't just put 1 egg in the batter, because things are not going to go right and it's going to slow you down. And I can tell you that that's what I had done, because, you know, I had Dee right there. And instead of some of the videos, listening to them, I would know I can just text Dee or get on a meeting with her and ask the question, when in all honesty, everything that I was asking was in the videos. So if I would have just done my homework at that time, it would not have like set me back a little bit. So that's first and foremost. But when I tell you, Dee is a wealth of information, and you can definitely learn a lot. Yes, we have our first contract. As a matter of fact, we have more than one. And you have to go and find the candidates. One of the roles I put out, I had 120 people apply, and you have to know what to put in the job description. And she tells you that also, because I found myself even just recently saying, well, she's, no, you can't say that. You can't, you need to make sure you add this, you know, so you have the source to ask the questions. So when they say, I say that to say, when they say the ghosting, if you have 120 applicants for a job, you only need one role, one person. What are you supposed to do? I mean, even after I interview someone and I decline them for the role, they send me a message asking me if I was real. You looked at me face to face. So for you to even ask that question, I just kind of giggled a little bit. And, you know, I'm real. We interviewed the other day. Maybe I'll have other opportunities for you later. You still talk to them in a professional manner so that you won't lose that relationship later, because you never know who may be able to fill a role later, or even that you may partner with later on a project. Now the other role that I have, I'm actually having to dig for those individuals for a project. I'm on LinkedIn and I'm looking at people's profiles. Are you this? Are you that? Do you have this experience? And I'm actually individually sending them messages, digging in, like she said, using Indeed and the different platforms differently to hunt and find them myself manually. Does it take time? Yes. Am I up early and sleeping late? Yes. But it all makes a difference.
So Dr. Rice, on that one thing, hold on 1 second. Hold that. Please don't forget that. But I have something specific I want to do at the running class today, but I really want to go back in, because the roles that you're talking about, are they for our friend?
Yes.
Okay. So have you looked on Amazon? Have you looked on YouTube? Have you looked on, like, this is where you're taking it a step further. You're looking for experts. You're not looking for the average person.
Right.
Have you searched Google? Because that person you're looking for is probably not going to have a LinkedIn account. They're going to have a website. They're going to have written a book. They're going to have maybe talked in events. Do you see what I'm saying? So I would start there, and I would talk to people there, even if it's not your person. And because I don't know if we'll be able to go through this today, so I just want to tell you this since I'm listening to your feedback. Even if it's not that person, still talk to them, because this is where you find out who they know. Okay. And I got it just because you know how I am. I got this story. I had to find these German speaking something. I can't remember, some years back, but something is like super hard to find and nobody could find to work for Coca-Cola. And they were when I just started this job, and they were like trying to be nasty to me. They was like, let's give her those roles. She'll never fill them. I filled all the roles and became the top recruiter there, and most respected as well. But I was able to do that because I think outside of the box and how I find people. So you gotta ask me, Dee, what are some of the things, and not now, of course, but later, like what is it? Because we got a one-on-one today, right?
We do. And I wanna
Okay.
talk to
So
you
let's do it on
about
one-on-one. So just make sure you remind me, because there are other things you can do to go find that person. And the average person is on the places that we spoke about. And the average recruiter is going to look there. It's even where the company is working, wherever the client is. They're just going to go where people say to go. But you have Dee Williams.
Hey.
Okay, that's your secret weapon, and I'm telling you, you can find them in other places, and I can show you. I'll show you later. Okay. What was the last thing you wanted to say?
The last thing I was going to say, when she talked about building an AI into your business, I was one of the 9 individuals in that class, and I have pretty much built out my platform, and I'm actually, as we're on here talking, I'm testing right now, writing down different things that's going on. So that gets you even more excited. So now when I call, what makes me different? Well, this makes me different. This sets me apart, which can be an added benefit to you possibly getting a contract.
Yes.
And it's about building relationships.
It's about building. Thank you. Say that again, please.
It's about building relationships. And what I've noticed, like they say, just because a person does not answer does not mean they don't mean to. Because I reached out to a person, I said, hey, I'm reaching out. I would like to still reconnect. They didn't respond. And then I reached out again. I've just been busy with my family and a job. I meant to get back with you. And then they set up an appointment. So just don't give up on yourself. Yeah. Keep calling.
Take it easy on yourself. Yeah. The fortune is in the follow-up. It's not in the first phone call. It's not in the first introduction. The likelihood of you getting the call in the first, the first phone call, the first introduction is very slim, right? That's the likelihood. But the fortune is really in the follow-up. It's what you do after you make that first introduction. And that's not just in business, that's in life. That's any type of relationship that you are trying to establish. And I'm telling you, if you really are serious about bringing this business to life, you've got to have thick skin, meaning you can't be afraid of somebody saying no. You can't be afraid of somebody hanging up in your ear. You can't be afraid of, you just can't use your fear to keep you from actually achieving your goals. You actually have to see it as if my life depends on it. My family's life depends on it. Like, it's a different energy. And in the beginning, it's going to not feel so great if you're starting a business not with a lot of money. I saw one of my ladies giggles for joy. She said, I would love to start a staffing agency, but startup money is my issue. I need help, y'all. I would say, like, I always tell people to go to kiva.org, KIVA.org. And kiva.org, they basically are like a crowdfunding for business entrepreneurs. And essentially, you can go in and tell them how much money you need. And they will have investors loan the money. But I think you have to do something first. If I remember correctly, you have to get 10 people to contribute to your idea. And the client, one of the clients I know who got it, she, I have 2 or 3 clients who did it, and they had to get 10 people to pay $25. 2 of them accomplished it. 1 of them did not. She couldn't get people to do the $25. So then my sales guy was like, just get the $250, give it to people, and then just tell them to do it on there. Don't tell Kiva I told you that. But most of the time people forget or whatever. So just like, don't force them to even need the money. Say, hey, I'm gonna give you $25, take this $25 and go to this website and put it in there. And that way you don't have to worry about that not being the reason that you don't get your money, right? And then you take that money and you split it. The 2 young ladies that I saw, they got like $10,000. You take $5,000, set up your business, do it manually, take $5,000, come and get training and coaching. so that you can have the best of both worlds. And then you start working on all of these other forms of revenue that you can utilize while you're building your business. Like, for example, everyone should have some type of training that they're selling or that they're giving away and using as a lead magnet, right? So as you're thinking of your strategies, and I was talking about that earlier, we're talking about the setup of your business and why now is the time to do it. Training is huge. Reskilling is huge. AI can't train everything and everyone right now because everybody's learning styles are very different. And it takes structure and it takes alignment with the technology and just different things like that. You are still valued right now as a human being, and your experience is valued. And even if you don't know enough about AI to teach it, okay? Even if you don't know enough about AI to teach it, you have AI to create the curriculum. There are hundreds, of not thousands, of companies that hire people, trainers, to go out and train on that material. Those people don't know how to do those things. They are trainers. So they're training, they learn the topic from through the manual. They have a manual, a owner's guide, or a admin's guide, or a trainer's guide, and they train the material that's in it. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have the expertise behind them. So I don't want you to utilize that as an excuse to say, well, I can't train somebody in AI if I don't know how. No, you have AI build your training, and then you go and learn the training, you know, as you're teaching it, and then you deliver it, or even have AI deliver it. But you need to be creating some type of training program, and you need to be offering it to your candidates. You need to be offering it to your clients. You should be structuring it as a lunch and learn so that you can get in the door and you can physically engage with the employers. You can do it in a virtual setting. This is where you maybe your AI technology isn't in your niche market. Maybe the AI technology you're creating is about reskilling people to become whatever or to do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like he says through here that being a plumber is the best job you're going to be able to have in the future. I don't know if he was joking or if he was serious, but that if that's going on and you have a staffing agency that places plumbers, you should be training more plumbers. Okay? Like I just want you all to just be thinking strategically and to thinking about how you're going to bring this business to life. You're going to be hustling for your dollars regardless. You know, unless you're going to sit back on universal basic income. Like if most jobs are going to change and go away, you're still going to have to hunt for your money. So why not start doing it now so that later on you don't have to hunt for it? I mean, I presume that we're going to have a beautiful future, but in the event that we don't, what does that look like? And for me, it looks like a difference in class, the rich versus the poor, which means that the middle class is going to go away. That's my fear. If that happens, then we're going to be in a third world type country, and it's going to be craziness all over the place and unsafe and just not a place where I'm going to want to live. And so I'm like, how many people can I impact now? How many people can I get to start a business now? How many people can I get my entrepreneurs to train right now? How many people can I train? You know, so that we can get people in a space where if that happens, there's less likely to be that gap there. And you know, those are my thoughts. You know, I'm pretty transparent about how I think. I think y'all know that, just working with me all of these years. But I am in survival mode right now, and I believe everyone should be. I think that people should take this very seriously because the people who are most important around these topics are taking it very seriously. It's a conversation that's actually happening every day in the tech world. You know, how are we going to deal with, you know, the post-labor economics? Post-labor economics. Do y'all hear the term? It's a search term. Post-labor economics. Look it up. Okay, that means after there is no labor. Like, I want y'all to think about this. Okay, so I mean, you're gonna prepare or you're not, and you know you're gonna do it or you're not. Like, make it happen. You can make everything else happen. Make it happen. I don't know if you got to pray. I don't know if you got to, you know, do a rally, do a fish fry on the corner. get the church donations. I don't know what you got to do. I gave you kiva.org. If you got good credit, get a loan. We work with finance companies, but you got to have a 640 credit score, a 640 or 680 to be approved. But you got to make it happen. And if it's not staffing, then it's something else, right? And we'll figure that out. That's y'all see me going live a lot, and I'm pre-recording videos, trying to get those up too. Because I want to just teach y'all. I don't even care at this point. I'm like, I just don't want us to be in a crazy world. I want to still have fun. I want to still show up every day and enjoy the people I get to train and coach and hang out with and all that great stuff. And I want my kids and my grandkids, if I ever have any grandkids, to live in a safe space. And, all the things that I think you all want too. So let's have some fun rebuilding the future. I think that's where I'm at. I really want to have some fun rebuilding the future. They said my voice not clear. Nobody tell me that. I'm so sorry. Well, we're ending anyway. I hope y'all can hear me. I love y'all. Hey, Jillian. I'm so sorry. I'm hanging up. But I really appreciate y'all being here. And I'm going live later on today. I will see y'all in the next video. And make sure you subscribe to my channel, like this video. Okay? Talk to you soon. Thank you.